On that bike. A pretty good run in round number 1 here, and we'll see if the judges liked it and if the other 4 riders that are still to come will manage to put down a good run as well.
Well, we always talk about it, and being the first rider out is basically the worst spot you can be.
Yeah.
The judges are not warmed up. Their pencils are not warmed up, even though they don't really use pencils. And it's just tough. They have to set the bar on where they think the rest of the night is going to go based on what they see out of the first rider. And this was a pretty good run, considering he could only do this one upside-down trick. Now, if you look at him, that was basically a perfect Superman seat grab backflip. He was perpendicular to the bike, maybe a few degrees elevated, but we're going to see Levi doing basically a backflip heart attack tonight. We're going to see a few of these guys really stretching that trick out. So I think a Remy Bizarre especially is going to maybe outclass that one trick.
Yeah, in this particular case, I mean, you know, and Remy Bizarre is also riding in this first round too. We should mention that Remy Bizarre got second at our last event in Osaka when he managed to beat Danny Torres in the semifinal and moved on to the final against Levi Sherwood, who did eventually win the event there. And Remy Bizarre didn't have the showing that I think he wanted to have yesterday during the qualification round. But, you know, like you say, Andy, Remy has such a fantastic repertoire of tricks in this particular round. He can really excel because he is so committed to each of those tricks and extending them properly.
He is, but as we talked to him earlier on today, he said he's worried. It's really difficult to bring 6 sensational, the best of the best right side up tricks. I mean, these guys have really focused on right side up tricks very much in the last 6 years of freestyle motocross. So that's a difficult thing.
You know, it's almost automatic to go out there and start throwing flip variations in a round like this, but it's an interesting rule that they've instituted here for these riders just to get it back to the old school a little bit. And Remy Bizarre starts right away with a big heart attack, or excuse me, kiss of death tsunami flip. So that's his joker right out of the gate.
And he did it over the 115-foot gap, the biggest
big
jump on the course. He boosted that. If you watch, he probably went 130 feet. He went about halfway down that in run, and we get a little Super Can Indy to side saddle lander there. It's so hard to see all these combos from as far away as we are, but that's a pretty good combo. You have to be creative in this round.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no just doing the basic trips, and there he really tweaks up that 9 o'clock knack flatliner style, but that's a lot of style there.
Yeah, lots of style going on there, and that's the thing that's really important here, is to throw out the style, and the flexibility is also key. You know, he really committed to that ruler, and he's scorpioned those legs way over, and that says a lot about how much he's putting into this run here in round number 1.
Well, he really got massive extension considering he did that off the little super kicker, so that was really, really nice. And then finishes off with a holy grab, kind of starting off the side of the bike and then floating back to a double grab. Really nice combo there. Remy, excellent run.
Yeah.
There really wasn't much to pick apart there. He started off big. The judges like that. You want to start off big and finish big, and that's exactly what Remy just did.
Well, that's the thing, you know, committing to the run and starting off with that big
There we go. Look at that.
Flip,
look at that slow motion. Just 115 feet through the air.
And high. He had lots of amplitude.
He boosted, but halfway down the landing there. And then we're going to check out a few more. There's that side saddle lander. You're going to see quite a few of those tonight. These guys are just really looking for every opportunity. And that was really one of the best looking flatliners I've ever seen. Really tweaking it up.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, that's the thing about Remy. He's one of those guys that's a bit of a perfectionist. He gets out on the course, and before he'll go out on the course and put down a competition run, he likes to have his lines clear and outlined in his mind and on his trick pad. So I think that, you know, this is going to be a good scoring run for Remy. We may even see him getting a little bit of a better score than David Ronaldo. Of course, we won't know the scores until after all 5 of the riders have gone, and we will then be told who is going to be going on to the next round.
I'm going to call on some of my old judging experience from Red Bull X Fighters and say absolutely Remy's run outclassed Ronaldo.
Yeah.
He just pushed a little harder, I think. He tweaked everything out a little bit further. As we get a look at Danny Torres, we are in his house.
Yeah, this is his house. What was it that we heard? This is the house Danny built, you know? I mean, it's kind of true, isn't it?
It is, but hey, speaking of guys that are absolute maniacs on a bike, Libor Podmal, he is a rider from the Czech Republic that really has stepped up his smoothness game.
Absolutely.
He kind of reminds me of Rob Adelberg. He was willing to throw down, but he's really smoothed out here the last little bit. And check out that, a surfer takeoff into a tsunami backflip off the super kicker. Now that is a way to start a run.
Yeah,
I mean, I could imagine going at a ramp and standing on my seat
and then he goes
to do a backflip.
Yeah, I mean, what's he thinking, right? And then he goes for the cliffhanger to no-hander lander, otherwise known as a base jumper. And here with these super steep landings, that's really risky. And I think the judges are really going to like this run so far. I mean, he's putting a lot into this. Not as smooth or maybe as lazy looking. And I mean, I say lazy, meaning, you know, nice slow rotations, holding the tricks
lazy
long.
in a good way.
Yeah,
lazy in a way that our style judge is actually going to appreciate.
Yeah, like Remy Bissoir. But then again, there's a lot of craziness in his run, and the judges appreciate that as well as he goes for the Superman C-grab, rock solid combo there.
Yeah, getting a little Indian air in there. That's like a 4-part combo right there. And you got to throw it all down. This is going to be his last jump. A big flatline combo off the double backflip ramp, which he's the only other person that's actually hit that ramp.
Yeah, and he
does a transfer. Yeah, that, you know what? Use of course, that is 1/5 of the judging criteria here. Yeah. And that is going to put him head and shoulders above anyone we've already seen tonight.
Yeah, and the other thing too is the energy, entertainment, and excitement aspect. Another part of the judging criteria. He really played with this crowd and he got into it. So I think, and Remy's always been a crowd favorite wherever he goes. He's just one of those guys that people like to watch and have fun with, you know, and he has a good time with the crowd too.
Nice on the base jumper. He thought about bar checking a couple times, but never even puts his hands down. That's what I love about this super slow motion. Look at that. Yeah. Sidewinder.
That's
no
one of the
hands.
best. That's one of the best tricks for him as well. He just loves that one. And every time he does it, he just hangs everything out there.
So here we go. Look at that one-handed Superman C-grab Indian air into rock solid, back on the bike. Pretty solid landing. We're going to watch these guys. You don't want to see that front tire elevated too much over the back tire when they're touching down. The judges are going to really notice that. And they're finishing off the transfer and a really solid trick off the transfer as well. So that will score well.
And I mean, you could see from that particular angle, it's tough to see, you know, how flat these guys actually get the bike and their body in that trick. And that angle really illustrates how completely flat they get the bike when they do a trick. And the transfer just made that all the more interesting.
Well, this is almost a game as large a part of this game right now in round number 1 is about mathematics as it is about your riding. I mean, you have to put down the run, but you have to think, where can I get a 1/10 of a point here? Where can I get another 1/2 a point there? And if it's on use of course, these guys got to remember, sometimes you get caught up in the heat of battle out there, but you have to remember that there is a use of course judge. There is a form and flow judge. There is a style judge. There are all these guys, and each one is marking something different. And
wow,
not a bad start there for Adelberg.
Robbie Adelberg taking a page from the other two guys there and just jumping in right away with that big backflip to get himself that
115-foot
that initial point set.
Cliffhanger backflip is a massive way to start, and he really extended that well. You'll hear us harp a little bit on the cliffhanger backflip, straightening the hips, straightening the legs. He popped that thing out, and it was beautiful.
And that last jump, a nice one-hand hard attack, really great stretch. And then the cliffhanger to no-hander lander. So basically right now what he's doing is he's matching Libor's run trick for trick. And I think if we compare the cliffhanger or the base jumpers, we're going to give this one to Rob Adelberg by maybe just a little bit of that bar check point.
Yeah, no, he's absolutely looking good. Gives the crowd a wave there, just trying to get that another 1/10 of a point out of the judge's energy judge, and really, really holds on to that tsunami there. And that's going to do it for Adelberg, but really, really, really solid run out of him. If I had to bet, I would say he might be taking the lead right now. We have one rider left, but Adelberg's a guy, he's won one of these competitions in the last 2 years.
Los Angeles in Glen Helen last year.
Yeah,
actually.
he can be a front runner, and he's got the bag of tricks to do it. So he's got to do what is very, look at this. Really, really straightens up like our old pal Bilko when he started doing this trick years ago. Straight up and down, hands extended, leaves his arms out, and it's over the 115-foot gap.
Yeah, that's the biggest jump we got on course here. And I mean, that takes a lot of gumption to do that one.
That's over a third of a football field upside down, Troy.
Yeah.
Not the football you guys watch in Germany either.
Here's that base jumper, and look at that. There's that hip check, the real great extension. The hands stayed well away from the bars for the complete landing and into the landing a little bit. So I will give him the base jumper, absolutely, and it'll be a judging decision now, really. It's going to be a close call, I think, between at least 3 of the 5 riders so far. Libor keeping a close eye on this run. So Robbie Adelberg can't be disappointed with that run. He came out and did what he needed to do, absolutely. And now we have one final rider here in round 1, Matt Ribot. And our info screen has just been updated. He's back up on board where he's supposed to be. So
this is going to be a tough call for Matt Ribot because he does have the 540 flare knack in his bag, but he's also got a lot of massive backflip tricks in his repertoire as well. I wonder if he was the kind of guy that went and spoke with the judges earlier and asked, what are you going to score higher? Because the judges are very accessible to the riders here at X Fighters, and they want these guys to be asking them questions.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling that since we saw a couple big backflip trips, he may go for the 540 flare knack, but I guess in the next 60 seconds we're going to find out.
Well, that we will as he gets going right away. Kiss of Death ruler. Beautiful, great extension on that one for Ribot.
Over the 115, Ribot is charging. This guy can really ride motocross as well, so you're going to see him really taking advantage of this course. Now he goes into the same transfer off the double backflip ramp that we saw Podmall do.
Yeah.
And trick for trick, I guess. You know, I don't know. I might give the edge to Podmall.
I think I'll give the edge to Podmall on that one because the flatliner was just sexier, I think.
Yeah, but that was a nice whipped out double can.
So if he does do his flare, it'll be right here.
Yeah, and he's going to.
Looks like he's going to do it.
First flare of the night here.
Oh, and it's pretty.
Yeah, that was nice. Flare, no knack on that one. I think he was making sure that, hey, I stomped this one. And we're going to see him get this trick, and probably this is it. So what does he have?
Oh my goodness, taking it really old school. The candy bar no-hander, otherwise known as the Pastrana.
Well, we call it the Pastrana anyway, because we don't know what to call it. That's a page out of Javier Villegas' book. And is this one going to count here? Oh, this one counts. And
cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger to finish things off.
I think he might have one extra jump in this run because he really raced the first 3-4 jumps.
I really feel that not only is it the tricks you pull and the extension and the variety, but it's also how many you get done, which is really down to how well you map your course, your line out during the pre-show. And this is going to be really tough, I think, between Adelberg and Ribot for first and second.
And Podmall. Let's not forget Podmall is definitely in the mix there. I think this is going to be a 3-way battle, quite honestly. You know, David had a good run, but he was the first guy out. Rough position to start in, plus his hand, and he's just not really riding at 100%. And of course, you know, Remy was right there. I think probably, you know, Remy is maybe in the mix as well. So it's down to a judging decision at this point, and yeah, let's see.
Let's take a look at that 540 flat spin flare, and this trick is actually, I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we saw it for the first time ever.
Right here,
back
in 2008.
here in maybe 2008.
Frederick Johansson, the Swede was the first guy to do it in competition in the history of the X Fighters.
And then no one did it again in competition for
a long time.
4 or 5 years.
The first time that we saw it back in competition was actually when Thomas Pages brought it back. And I mean,
4 years later.
Yeah.
So that's amazing that Johansson was such an innovator back then. I know Pastrana had been trying them in his foam pit with little to no success.
Yeah, but that was near the end of Pastrana's careers and his knees.
Yeah, that's true.
But still, you know, Frederick Johansson was one of those innovative guys back in the day. So let's see. 5th place goes to David Ronaldo, 82.9. 4th with an 83.5. Libor Podmal. So here we go. It's a two-way race between Rob Adelberg and
this one's gonna
Matt
be tough.
Rabeau.
This one's tough. But I feel like I know the answer.
Well, 84.3 goes to Rob
Matt
Adelberg.
Rabeau.
Matt Rabeau with an 85.5. Matt Rabeau will move on and will go up against Thomas Pages in the quarterfinals. Very, very nice return to action this year for Matt Rabeau. It's been a long road to recovery for him, and it's really fantastic to see him back here. And if you talk to him, he's always smiling and happy to be able to do what he loves to do. But the other thing that he just loves to say to all of us is, yeah, man, I'm the oldest rider out there now. It's cool.
Yeah, it's crazy that Matt Rabeau was the young gun, and now he's the oldest guy out there. 2008.